Lena Harper never missed a single day texting her mom. It didn't matter where she was, at school, on a date, half asleep, or even sick, she would always send that one message. Sometimes it was as simple as, "I love you, Mom." Other times it was long-winded, pouring out her heart about her struggles in college, missing home, or just needing comfort. The strange thing was, her mother had been dead for 3 years. But the messages still sent. No errors. No bounce-backs. And sometimes, only sometimes, she received a reply. Not a full sentence. Just a word. Love. Here. Safe. The first time it happened, Lena had been convinced it was a glitch, or maybe her number had been reassigned. But she checked. Her mom's old number still belonged to her mom. It hadn't been recycled. It was still listed under her name, the account permanently frozen because her father had never shut it off. She even asked the phone company. They said it was impossible. The replies began about 6 months after her mom's funeral. Lena had been struggling to adjust to college life in Seattle. The campus was enormous, cold, and loud. Her roommate was nice, but distant. She didn't know anyone, and she carried the weight of her mother's sudden death like a stone tied to her chest. A car crash had taken her mom on a rainy November night while she was driving back from visiting Lena at school. She'd promised to text when she got home. She never did. That was the last thing Lena ever said to her. "Text me when you get there. I love you." Her mom had responded with a heart emoji. That was it. After the funeral, Lena couldn't stop checking her phone. She reread their old conversations every night, memorizing the little emojis her mom used, the way she'd always type, hugs and kisses, at the end. It became a habit, a ritual. She'd type a message, knowing no one was there to read it, and send it anyway. Until, one day, a response came. Just one word, love. Her heart stopped. She stared at the screen for an hour. Was it someone playing a cruel joke? Was her dad behind it? No. He didn't even know how to check voicemail, let alone impersonate her dead mother. When she asked him about the phone, he said it was still in a box of her things in the attic, untouched. That night, Lena snuck back home, dug through the box, and found the phone, dead, dusty, and untouched. The SIM card had been removed. It was impossible. But the messages continued. Never often. Maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Always short. Always gentle. Mississippi, watch. Close. It was like someone or something was watching her. But instead of terror, Lena felt peace. The messages always came when she needed them the most. The night she failed her midterm? Try. When she was about to quit her part-time job? Stay. When she was walking home alone late at night and thought she saw someone following her? Run. That one chilled her to the bone, and she sprinted all the way home. Later, she found out there had been a break-in just 1 block away. How could her dead mother's phone be warning her? Lena didn't tell anyone at first. Not even her best friend, Marcy. But the weight of it grew unbearable, especially as the messages became more personal. She started dreaming about her mother again. In the dreams, her mom stood at the edge of a forest, always waving, always calling her name. "Come home," she would whisper. "Come home, Lena." When Lena told Marcy about it, expecting her to laugh or suggest therapy, Marcy's face went pale. "You're not the only one," she said slowly. "My cousin texted her grandma's phone for a year after she died. On the 1-year anniversary, she got a text back. It just said, 'Still here.'" Lena began researching, deep diving into forums, Reddit threads, paranormal boards. She found others. Dozens of stories like hers. Some chalked it up to ghosts, others to quantum echoes, others to pure coincidence. But one thread stood out. A user named Oracle Red claimed that certain emotional connections, especially those with unresolved guilt or trauma, could pierce the thin places between dimensions. Texting, being such a personal and direct communication, sometimes acted like a conduit. Lena messaged the user. No response. Their account went inactive the next day. As the 3rd anniversary of her mother's death approached, the messages intensified. Lena began to sense things, smells, mostly. Her mom's lavender perfume in the hallway. The scent of her famous banana bread in her dorm. Once, she swore she heard her mom humming in the shower, even though she lived alone. But it was more than that. Her phone began behaving strangely. Messages would type themselves out, glitching in and out. Photos she never took appeared in her gallery, blurry images of her childhood home, her mom's garden, even her mother's grave. Something was building. A climax. On the exact date and hour of her mother's death, Lena sat on her bed, phone in hand, heart pounding. Midnight came. Her phone buzzed. One message. One word. Door. She leapt up, confused. What door? Her dorm door? She walked over and opened it. Nothing. Empty hallway. She turned around, and that's when she saw it. A second door. A door that shouldn't be there. On the opposite side of the room, where there had never been one before, stood a wooden door, old, cracked, familiar. Her mother's bedroom door. The one from her childhood home. She blinked. It was still there. She approached it slowly, hand trembling. When she opened it, she was no longer in her dorm. She was in her childhood house. Sunlight poured through the windows. Birds chirped outside. The smell of banana bread filled the air. And down the hall, standing by the stairs, was her mother. Smiling. Whole. Real. Hi, baby, she said, voice trembling. I've been waiting. Lena collapsed into her arms, sobbing. I don't understand, she whispered. Am I dead? Her mom laughed softly. No. But the space between here and there was thin tonight. You made it thin. All that love, all that grief, it opened the door. They talked for what felt like hours. Her mother explained everything. About how some souls linger near those they love. How strong emotional energy can build bridges, if only for moments. She couldn't stay. The door wouldn't last. But I needed to tell you, her mom said, holding Lena's face in her hands. You didn't cause my death. I don't blame you. I love you, always. Those were the words Lena had waited 3 years to hear. She had blamed herself. If she hadn't begged her mom to visit, she wouldn't have died in that crash. But now, she was free. The door began to fade. Will I see you again? Lena asked. I'll always be near, her mom said. Just listen. And then she was gone. Lena woke up in her dorm room, collapsed on the floor, her phone buzzing in her hand. One final message. Peace. She cried for hours. But it was different now. Not from pain. From release. In the weeks that followed, Lena changed. She smiled more. She reached out to her dad, who was still grieving silently. They visited her mom's grave together, hand in hand. She started volunteering at a grief support center, helping others like her. And she kept texting her mom, not because she expected replies, but because it made her feel close. On rare occasions, a word still came through. But she didn't need them anymore. She had closure. Years later, she wrote a book called Messages from the Other Side. It became a bestseller, but she never profited from it. All earnings went to support grief counseling programs. Her story helped thousands. People started talking about their own experiences. A movement was born. And somewhere, somehow, her mother smiled, proud, glowing, watching. Because even death couldn't break their bond. Love had created a signal strong enough to reach across worlds. And in that love, Lena finally found peace.